Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the video. I'm Insane Frame and today we're going to play Xcom 2. Now those astute of you who have followed the series, you know we have done all the base classes as you can see on screen now. So now we have the extra classes per se, the modded classes. So today we ask the question, can you beat Xcom 2 with a single Necromancer? Now Necromancers are good, they have lots of very nice abilities, they have lots of extra bodies and extra bodies equals extra damage, and of course the aliens are not a fan of us getting our own armada together. Now with these extra classes I will say I have nowhere near the amount of experience in the slightest compared to the main roster. However, the Necromancer, well, it's a really cool class, really good. It is missing a couple of things, but other than that we're going to be playing on commander level difficulty, since again I've never played with mods in this game, so first time for everything I guess. And also I will apologise now if I make any mistakes, one of which is I actually forgot to enable one of the mods in the first place, but alas, here we are, we do sort that later on. So onto the rules. We may only use our Necromancer in combat, excluding the first mission of course. Operatives are allowed for Covert Ops, no cheating or exploits, and we're going to be playing, as said earlier, commander level difficulty. So everything done, let's go on in. So first mission, it is the tutorial of sorts, and it's the only mission where we get multiple people engaged in combat, although because we're going to be playing a Necromancer, it's going to be slightly different and is a bit of an exception. But you'll see what I mean later on. So if we go in with 4 people and say hello to the first enemies this run, with a amazing ambush, pretty much wiping the first patrol out, it feels pretty damn good. Then we chase the last trooper. He is certainly no Trooper Joe, but once we catch up with him, we destroy him. So first the patrol of the campaign down, and next patrol it bursts into a gunfight. But with 4 against 3, we eventually get the upper hand. Flank trooper, he's done for. Then we remove the cover from our opponents, gather our guys, and then down they go. So next 4 charges are placed. Then we jet on out, completing the first mission. Lovely stuff. Then we go aboard the Avenger and we have our team. Dr. Tygan, he is amazing, our head scientist, and then our chief engineer Lily Shen, and of course Commander John Bradford, holding everything together by the seam. What a lovely man he is. Now we do have the and then of course we have our protagonist, a questionable sort, perhaps related to Speaker, maybe not, even a defective avatar, who knows. But we have the one and only Dr. Victor Frankenstein reporting in with his magical and quite frankly worrying abilities, but they are very effective. I'm sure the aliens will be very terrified at the sight of him when he's through with them. We then send all of the remaining recruits to the bar awaiting Xcom Isle and get them on the first flight out there so they're safe and sound, because it's now Victor's time to shine. The world map gives us a scientist, which is amazing, can't ask for much more, which is brilliant. And then Guerrilla Ops, our first mission. Now, Victor is a Necromancer, so it's going to be very easy. So we manage a little sneaking as we're born in the shadows, and then we grenade the trooper. It actually one-shots him, so with that, we use our one and only ability, which is perfectly balanced, not at all broken for the early game. We raise a zombie to fight with us, the first in this run, and I'm sure there'll be many more to come. Advent are unsure what to do, so we start beating up the nerdy sectoid, so one less sectoid, and yeah, certainly one way to deal with them. We grab the objective, run away, and eventually all the enemies slay the zombie, but we decide to raise a second zombie to annoy the hell out of them and punch them in the face. A surprise sectoid is down, is really cool, and everyone wants to try and take a shot at our zombie. The sectoid, probably thinking a revival sectoid, is taking a joke too far. Anyway, they managed to kill our minions, so we decide to flank Senior Sectoid after many turns to stop being mind-controlled, and he is done for, ladies and gentlemen. And then we managed to run around, then get a good shot. Everyone decides to say hello, so hello troopers, but we raise a zombie to turn the tide against our opponents, allowing us to win the mission. A very interesting first solo mission, sort of, but we're okay. Back at base, we land the Sky Ranger and we have a promotion. So we decide to grab Poison. It's only one action, so we can poison and shoot, but interestingly, Poison debuffs the enemy, allowing us to give them -30 aim and -4 movement whilst doing 1 damage a turn. It's not a permanent poison like Chrysalids, but damage is damage, so it's pretty good. Mr. X then says hello, completing our team, and as usual, we decide to get the sectoid research sorted since mind shields are really good in solo play. And then we get rapid excavation. This is awesome, and we certainly want this. And also the training center is now online. And apparently Victor has gifted intelligence level, which is amazing. The skirmish decide on a mission, and our best friends ever are here. The Lost. These beautiful, beautiful people are best friends this run. Oh yes. So we do a stylish deploy out to Sky Ranger, and now it's time to find our operative team. We take up arms on a balcony of all places and begin cutting the Lost down, so we're all good. Every time we kill a Lost, we get refunded our actions, so we can just keep gunning them down until we can't do enough damage. So we just do what we can, our staff doesn't run out of ammo, we keep shooting them, and poison the trooper to annoy the hell out of him and debuff him, as the sectoids also get punched in the face. And the Lost are absolutely majestic at punching them. First zombie falls, we just let the tar pit continue, so more poison comes out to annoy the enemy, and we gnaw at their health bars. But then we let our scientists get our operatives rounded up as we keep the kill count up, and then our friend uses corpse explosion. So here's a lovely thing about our zombies. They are walking acid bombs, and we get them very early indeed. And then they create pools of acid, and this takes a lot of the Lost out, so we make our escape staying up high, and then eventually we get evac'd out, making the mission a huge success. Lots and lots of lovely little fireworks right out the gate. Gotta love it. The Sky Ranger is back. We get our next skill thanks to a promotion. We get Corpse Explosion. Now you may be thinking, but Frame, early used Corpse Explosion. However, we can now explode any corpse, not just our zombies, and this is fantastic. So enemies can also be corpse exploded, which is kind of why we get this ability. It's got some good damage, but the prize here is all of this wonderful lot on screen. We now have a full operative team, we're ready to go, and also we go to the training center and get combustion. We can now set people on fire, as well as upping our damage massively. And the Lost won't like this because the fire can spread with them. We also get a double whammy with our digging, and we get 1 room dug out, and rapid excavations lets us dig instantly out at the 3rd level. This is pretty damn good for our first month. So next, we get the resistance ring to start getting our operatives some promotions. We also want to get our lab as quickly as possible. We have our first retaliation mission out, and this is widely going to depend on which chosen we get first as to whether we can complete it or not. But spoilers, we get the hunter, the best chosen to go up against. The people are just killing civilians again, although morbid, it is good for us. That's 3 corpses right there, ladies and gentlemen. So we rock up, dodge the hunter's marks whilst trying to beat the enemy. It's okay, but we get the first zombie, and this does amazing for us. Also, our second zombie starts his assault and kills a sectoid in 1 hit. Now, I have to admit, I like these zombies. We can get revenge on these aliens. It's pretty damn awesome. Then the trooper, who is no longer Trooper Joe, gets burnt alive and then falls off the building. It is absolutely hilarious. And I hear Trooper Joe is laughing on Xcom Isle. Anyway, we save some civilians and then storm a building, and now that we're not being tracked, the hunter is nearby, so we say hello. Hello, Mr. Hunter. He gets several zombies going after him, and he really doesn't like it. Then we poison him along with burning him, and this is amazing since he's taken a lot of damage, and after a brief brawl, the hunter does in fact shoot our zombie, but we manage just fine since we have another punch in the face, and then for good measure, burn him alive, defeating our first chosen. Then a quick poison and we're done. Retaliation mission complete. Back on the Avenger, we get of course that lovely promotion. This level is our first big damage ability, Lightning. This is going to be coming in very handy later, but we use all of our actions on 1 turn to stun the enemy. This effectively gives us a free psychic grenade, which is very powerful. And we also grab Mist, so we can go back into concealment, so we can just continuously stun the enemy and keep ambushing them. This is absurdly good. Now, Victor is not in a good way. He is shaken, so we've gone down to 14 will. So we have to be careful. The negative traits can build up. The Chosen are very angry that they have someone using magic against their psychic power. So they have a HR meeting in their Legion of Doom to see why many of their employees are now zombies. We're causing quite a stir in this fight, so well done, Victor. As for our progress, Mr. X is very impressed. I think this is the first time we've managed to get an ideal start, thanks to using zombies. The Chosen are fairly standard. We then decide to get an order to slow the Chosen down by 33%, buying us some more time in the early game, as this is absurdly useful. Although we don't have the resistance ring, we can still do some operations, although very limited. We get Gorilla Ops and we can't do it since Victor is still shaken, so we skip it and then we get on with our Covert Ops. When it's complete, we can now go and see the Reapers. They also give us an operative for our troubles, so we have a full team including a buddy for our Necromancer. Isn't that nice? Next Covert Op, we go after some ability points, so we get Victor back, and the aliens have a supply raid mission for us, so it's his job to go in, and when we see the Sky Ranger go out, we test our newest ability once we're on the ground. So we go ahead, use lightning to stun our opponents, and then we just burn them to the ground. The Purify even explodes when we do this and is raised as a zombie. We make it invisible as well as ourselves, and next patrol, well, we just stun them, poison them and set them on fire, so everyone is pretty much done for. The sectoid is bewildered as he has been outplayed, and then we wait it out for a couple of turns as he raises a corpse, and then we set the sectoid on fire. Another patrol checked off the list. Last patrol, we make ourselves invisible so our zombie foot soldier goes in. Everyone crowds around, so we detonate next to a car and we're good. The officer is an idiot, so we get huge damage and then just use lightning. He's dead, we win, and this class is absurdly good. On our loot table, we get exactly what we wanted, Illyrian crystals. This is amazing. And since it's the start of our tier 2, there's a lot of building going on. It's excellent stuff. Everyone's having their cups of tea, so yes, marvellous. Now, ladies and gentle peoples, I did a big mistake this run. Since I'm terrible with mods, I've not been using the mods correctly, and this is the mistake I said at the start of the video. With some quick alterations, we now have our main man at full power, just like the mod intended. We have the Brigadier rank. Oh yes, we actually have one rank above Colonel, and with this class, this was just, had to be done. This is all on me, just want to make that clear. The mod creator is really, really good, and here's the class on Steam, so you can see the Brigadier rank was intended. It's just me being stupid, so there we go. Also, we grabbed Shadow Step, so no more Overwatch fire coming on our way, and Death from Above. This is going to be absurdly useful, since our staff only consumes one action. Pretty awesome for us. But then as we kill people from Death from Above, it just gets refunded, so it's really good. We also decided to get psionics research to start getting our tier 2 weapon. But we also need the proving grounds for us, but it's being built, so it's all good. The skirmish have a mission for us, and we eagerly accept. So first up, we see a patrol, and that means lightning. It's awesome, gives us free damage and a free turn. Then we decide to kill our flame trooper. The mech doesn't really like that, so we run around the corner and use mist, so we reconceal ourselves. When our zombie is raised, we begin annoying a sectoid because frankly, it's fun punching him in the face and one-shotting him, so what's not to love? The mech is quite annoying, but we use a mixture of corpse explosion and poison to wear the enemy down, so they fall down. Our lightning then stuns the mech, and combined with our zombie, he is mercilessly beating down. Absolute progress right there, since time is on our side. Then we just raise everyone in the general area to fight for us using advanced tactics against them. Oh, I bet they're terrified now. And then the enemy get reinforcements, so we decide zombies take one side and use their punchy one-punch-man methods to protect us. And then we just hold off the enemy on our side and we're doing just fine. And then we get the heck out of dodge, so we win the mission. Once back at base, we decide to get a lab built so we can fast-track our research and get breakthroughs that much easier. It turns out we don't really need an infirmary yet until we decide to take some Chosen Stronghold. But we got our proving ground and immediately get a Skulljack developed. Yep, that's right, 2 playthroughs in a row where we actually get to Skulljack early, which is absolutely amazing. The Covert Ops is a huge success and we get +5 will and a promotion. Simply excellent is all we could ask for. So we get a bond, a new skill, Fireball, so now we can see lots of things on fire. It's just awesome. And do some base damage on top of that in an area of effect. So we just get infinite grenades now. Lovely. Kryptos comes by and we gladly take the mission to get ourselves a scientist as a protector device. So off we go and Victor deploys him very stylishly. We sneak into a good engagement angle and then we use lightning and then fireball on our second turn to kill them. Everybody just wants to damage the relay, a very good distraction if nothing else, and we start using our poison and combustion combo. It's a very powerful combo indeed. Then we just use mist to get the drop on the enemy and use poison and fireball to get a triple kill on the enemy turn. Very, very nice indeed, I must say. The combustion kills the trooper, the zombie explodes to kill the mech, and it's job done. It's absolutely brilliant. This class is very, very powerful in the early game. Back aboard the Avenger, we get the lab and of course upgrade it so we get the equivalent of 2 scientists. This is fantastic and research is going to be going full steam ahead. Now we have psionics research, we can get a Necromancer apprentice staff. This is our tier 2. We get the resources, we do get our advanced psiamps, so there is some improvement to be had. Our skull chat is complete, very good stuff. And now we can get some codexes on our agenda. And finally, we get the infirmary and the guerrilla tactics school after selling some things on the black market to allow us to have all the support we need this run. Anyway, we do our Covert Op, we get our man wounded. This isn't great, but we do get +4 will and +1 resistant contact, so it's definitely worth it. And in the meantime, we just get a Covert Op for a scientist underway. More research, less time needed to tech up. Speaking of which, Illyrian gets a breakthrough. This is amazing. Get this done, Tiger. You absolute research beast. This is why I wanted the lab in the first place. So heck yes, ladies and gentlemen. We get our gorilla up, and both these are pretty bad. So risk capture or make our spells do no damage. So doing our damage and getting supplies it is. Our first attack, lightning, kind of a staple now since it's so awesome. And the objective is reach, so good stuff. The enemies are fearful of our zombie soldiers, and after we start working a codex down, we have to run away and use mist in order to stay alive and make sure the hunter doesn't target us. Fireball saves our bacon since the Mouton really doesn't like it. We managed to get away just about, and the mech is not impressed, so uses suppression, which doesn't really affect us since we have Shadow Step and a trooper overwatches, so again, we're not affected thanks to Shadow Step. Then we use poison since the debuff will be insurmountable, and we keep falling back as the enemy just really don't let up. So we keep the full cover and eventually we get fireball to finish the job with the trooper. Amazing. Then thankfully the mech misses and we just shoot with our staff. Job done. The hunter is quite the opponent since he shoots our zombie. Not great, but we do get a poison and fireball combo on him, so that takes a lot of his health off, and yes, the poison aim is very nice. So he grapple hooks away, but not before we give a lightning bolt in his face. He's pretty cool because he's annoying. We just poison and burn him again. He has bad aim, so it's good, and the faceless is still poisoned as well, so they all miss us. Lovely stuff. With miscast, the hunter falls to our damage over a dot, and the faceless knows exactly where we are, so we just burn him, and well, he does manage a hit on us. The first wound of the playthrough, but we're okay. We just burn him alive and call it a day. Back at base, we go straight to Lily-Shen and purchase ourselves an apprentice staff, so we have our tier 2 weapon, whilst also upgrading to Predator armor, making us tougher. As Dr. Victor Frankenstein, he also gets a promotion, so we get Eldritch Storm. Now this doesn't do direct damage itself, but it does add 3 dots in one. You heard that right, it adds fire, poison and acid damage on a target. Very, very powerful against organic enemies, and lightning has a new best friend. We also grab Army of the Dead. This is my personal favourite skill, so we can raise multiple enemies in one turn, as long as they are humanoids, mind you. A very powerful Maz Resurrect spell, so very powerful abilities, this promotion, so yes. We grab ourselves a superior speed boost, and Guerrilla Tactics School lets us equip it, so Victor has yet another power-up, and he's rocking all of his tier 2 equipment now. This is absolutely amazing. We then have a UFO landing, since we had a UFO chase us, and it didn't catch us, but it is what it is. That would have been a campaign reset, so thank goodness. We take it out for good now, and we can test out our new skills as is required. A Spectre is not very bright, but we managed to get ourselves a couple of kills thanks to Bolt and Fireball, spectacular combo. We add it by raising everyone as zombies, and this is absurdly cool. With 2 zombies, the Spectre gets jealous and shadow clones our zombie, but we decide to go ahead and gang up on him to get all our forces back. So first patrol done, and now we have our own patrol as well. The UFO stormed, and we see 2 patrols, so one trying to flank us, and the second stroll on in. So we do the hilarious thing and destroy the alien relay whilst everyone alive is, just destroyed. So no sectoids now, the Muton is on the back foot, but kills one of our zombies like a naughty Muton, bad Muton. The second zombie is still alive, so we use combustion, and our zombie explodes, taking down a flame trooper, so he gets a taste of his own medicine. Next up, the enemy out there shoots, but all miss, and we decide to use an Eldritch Storm. So, poison, burning, and acid damage all in one go, which is pretty damn absurd. So we use lightning to let it tick over, and we win. Then we do the boring parts for establishing our own radio beacons until we can get the first continent bonus, machine learning. So breakthroughs are twice as likely to occur. This ties in with our lab, also giving more breakthroughs. So we're going to have a breakthrough frenzy. The council then have a mission for us as usual, and well, it gets quite vicious as the Warlock can't really handle our fire and brimstone against his spectral zombies. It's actually pretty hilarious. Then we raise his spectral zombies to our side because he doesn't realise that we can do that. We then decide to get the scientists and then evac ourselves out. So short, sweet, and just absolutely awesome. Our scientist is Sabrina Carpenter's long-lost sister, Susan Carpenter. Good to have another scientist on board. However, our main man is now shaken, so we just have to wait it out since his will does need improvement, but is getting there. The enemy do have the Dark Tower that hits our will pretty badly, so we just have to combat that until it passes. Shen then decides to lecture us on putting engineers to work. The sheer audacity of this. We are building a power plant, Shen, so please keep your Avengers facility in the skies. So please have a cup of tea, my dear. Guerrilla Ops then comes in at a bad time and we have to pass on it, which is a shame since we could use a high-ranking soldier, but sadly it's not happening, ladies and gentlemen. Then we have a catastrophe since we have a retaliation mission, and once again we have to pass. So when Victor is back, we spam some Covert Ops to get his will up and start homing in on the Chosen Hunter to get one of the threats dealt with. We have a supply raid mission and we sneak around until the Lost appear, and now we are going to be very, very overpowered indeed. So we get as many crates as we can, thanks to the Lost, and then go ahead and start taking them out. Then we don't raise one zombie, we raise 3 to start causing chaos against the enemy. We stay up high to finish anyone we don't like, thanks to death from above, and eventually we make a clearing where we can just bolster our forces as much as we want, as the enemy are dealing with the loss, and we have our resurrection abilities to just keep getting more powerful. This is why the Necromancer is so good. After quite a few lost swarms, which are a good thing for a change, managed to get ourselves a swarm of our own. Yes, Army of the Dead is such a good skill with the lost, and it just makes us very powerful. So with our many kills, we decide, let's swarm the enemy, and the best part, they kill our zombies, there is no bonus action, it wastes all of their action. So there is no downside to our loss. It's just pretty damn overpowered actually. We gradually whittle them down. They do not like the enemy, so we start using our zombies as walking bombs. It's extremely effective as the enemy get coated in acid whilst also taking a huge amount of damage. Having our own army, which is bigger than the enemy's, well, the tables have turned quite literally. So after many blasts and explosions of corpses, we finish the mission as the priest dies from burning. That was one of the funnest experiences in XCOM 2, period. We then get a promotion and get 2 skills. Firstly, we get Soul Spear. This is the same as Psychic Lance. However, I'm not sure if it's supposed to do this, but it doesn't actually hurt robotic enemies. So there is that. And then the one I'm looking forward to here is Insect Swarm. So this is basically poison, but it takes up all our actions, so, but it does 2 damage a turn and minus 50 aim. So it's just a straight up upgrade, and it does stack, so we can get an enemy a lot of aim penalties. Pretty damn awesome. Everything is now primed for us to approach the black site mission. And Necromancer is going to terrify everyone in the area, so we deploy on in. First thing we do is use lightning next to a vehicle, and well, the results speak for themselves. However, our biggest weakness is afoot, an enemy in armor in the form of a heavy mech. Now, the Necromancer is very bad at taking away armor, and is kind of one of them things. So we get everything we got, and that mech is now not going to be a problem today. But the Chosen Hunter is still trying to mark us and shoot us. His friends, try as they might, had some damage over time dealt on them, so we can just whittle them down, no problem. Then start getting zombies on our side. The facility itself isn't too bad, since the enemies in the area are only tier 1, so we just fire lots of fire to burn the heretics, as they say. 40k universe is probably onto something here. I mean, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us. The mech is then taken out, since one armor isn't particularly bad, so it's all good. Then we get to the vial, and loads of enemies want to say hello, so thank you for putting the evac point near the start. We just grab the vial, run away, since that is an option next one, and once we run, we make it back and we get one more rank. Yes, this class has the Brigadier rank, so the ability I decide to go for is Domination, since this ability is absurdly strong in solo run, and with the right unit we can solve our armor problem, making us a well-rounded class. Maybe not the most powerful ability, but it is one heck of an ability in a solo run. We then begin the construction on the Shadow Chamber and watch as one of our operatives jumps to the pull-up bar whilst Bradford is on a treadmill. Yes, Bradford, you go, good sir. You burn them calories on the treadmill. Covert Ops is back and the Chosen Stronghold is available, but we do need Victor a little bit stronger before we go in. There are a few Covert Ops stat boosts and ability points we grab, and we get another Brigadier ability, Teleport. So now we have the same abilities Codex have and Avatars have. We can just, instead of dashing, we can just teleport and have another action. Very powerful, and also we get healing. Exactly what it says on the tin, 4 HP to keep our man alive as well as zombies. Very underrated in Xcom, but healing is actually absurdly powerful. Then the third tier of armor is purchased, so we have a single point of armor and a HP. Then the third tier of armor is purchased, and we have a single point of armor and a HP boost. So I think we're ready to take the stronghold on. So, time to put an end to a Chosen. Also, we use Dominate and take an ideal candidate. May I present to you, ladies and gentlemen, Big Dave the Andremedon. Now, Big Dave is just amazing, as you can see. He hits hard, makes the enemies hit the floor like a sack of potatoes, and to help Big Dave, we use lightning to stop the Berserker in their tracks. As Dave gets big damage, we then get some fire, one acid bomb and a Necromancer staff later, we're in the clear, so we make our way to the Ascension Gate. And then I discover a little bit of a problem. Any enemies we take control of and that can't actually get through the gate with us, so unfortunately I have to say goodbye to Big Dave, so goodbye Big Dave. But once we're in the chamber, we get codexes and we see our old adversary, a heavy mech, but a good soul spear makes short work of the codexes, and then unfortunately the grenade barrage does moderate damage, but very quickly he is a dead mech. And then we just go ahead and start healing before the boss. And now we meet the Chosen Hunter. We discover his sanctum, so it's game on for us. We get our debuffs on the Hunter, the most important being poison and insect swarm. This gives a whopping -80 aim. You heard that right, so it makes it almost impossible for the Hunter to hit us, and he's also losing at least 3 HP a turn and can't shoot the backside of a barn. The Hunter in response just runs around and uses a grappling hook. Not sure why, but I guess his aim is solo, so he's just not bothering. To up the ante, we decide to use Eldritch Storm to apply more fire and acid damage. And as you can see on screen, all these debuffs means the Hunter isn't doing very well and isn't very happy. After a quick shot, the Hunter has the Black Plague. I'm now just going to call Eldritch Storm the Plague, just so you all know. Now, with all of his ailments, we keep up the debuffs until he's going onto the first damage phase. So now we just shoot like an HG's action hero before the Hunter comes back, doing a huge amount of damage to his a trick, as he calls it. It's then over to a bunch of codexes, our worst matchup since they can just continuously clone themselves. However, death from above comes in real handy as we can kill multiple codexes in one turn. Then it's back to dealing with the hunter, going back to our poison and insect swarm ASAP. That debuff, well, it's quite the thing, I must say. Then Eldritch Storm, aka the Black Plague, is back in the death loop for the hunter. Not being able to do anything and running around and taking a lot of damage over time. Well, he's not really being the chosen, and this is how we're going to beat him. Fair and square, might I add. Now he's as ineffective as possible whilst the plague claims him. The hunter walks around with a nasty cough and keels over. Similar to radiation from Fallout, I guess, but then we get the second damage phase. This time, we have a plan. Enemies mass up, we use lightning to amazing effect, but there are still mechs around trying to annoy us. But teleport saves our bacon. The rest of the forces have no line of sight. So we can safely, with surgical precision, infect them with the plague. And then the priest starting his downfall, he's not going to be doing anything. So yes, the chosen aren't the only ones with boss abilities, it seems. So yeah. Teleportation and lightning is a very powerful combo, although it takes a turn to set up and a turn to execute, but is really good. And then we can teleport out, whittle the enemy down, death from above, it just cleans house, and we can get back to poison and insect swarm once more, our bread and butter. The priest from earlier is not doing so great, and poison makes him activate stasis. But the chosen hunter drops first, so more damage and more of the same. But we have cracked the sarcophagus, allowing the final showdown, the chosen hunter. He thinks we're stuck with him, but little does he know he's stuck in here with us. So some Overwatch to make sure he gets a taste of his own medicine. Then we decide to let's end this in style with one shot, just like the hunt would do. And then he is dead, and we win our first chosen battle. 1 down, 2 to go. So we are doing fantastic. Resistance comms is then staffed, allowing us to get more regions to be contacted, and also Victor and Oswald get their bond to the next level, so Covert Ops can take one less day. A big buff for sure. Then we get some Covert Ops to reduce the Avatar project because, ladies and gentlemen, the Doomsday timer is counting down, and this is not good. The campaign will be lost if we continue like this, and we can't have that now. However, we shall not be beaten. Victor just recovered just in time, so we deploy him onto a facility. And of course, he's looking fierce and terrifying. I'm sure he is a villain, but he's saving the world with his villainous abilities, so I guess he's a villain and a hero at the same time. For example, he places explosives in the building using magic to get inside. Then immediately evacs out, and yes, it's clear Victor has boss level abilities. And off he goes. In all fairness, that is impressive, and as you can see, 3 turns in and out, and to complete a mission, you just simply can't beat it. It's then the end of the month, and our orders are okay for the most part, not fantastic, but we do get resistance rising, so we get +2 contacts, a very good order if you need that little extra punch on the world map, so we are having a bit of that. And Codex research in the Shadow Chamber is going fantastic, so we don't need to worry about the meaning the story is doing, so fantastic stuff. Also, Covert Ops keeps the Avatar project from catching up to us anytime soon, and our main goal is to get to the Black Site coordinates and take out another Chosen. So we'll focus on the Chosen Warlock, and we have a special plan for both the Assassin and the Chosen Warlock, and in the meantime another Covert Ops is successful, so we get +3 will, a stupidly important stat for us this run. Once some time passes, we get the final stage of the Warlock done, so we can assault the Chosen Stronghold if we so choose. However, first we have to go and do a lovely mission courtesy of Guerrilla Ops, so off we go to cause some mayhem. And well, Trooper Joe comes through for us. He gives us an agent to help us out, a Stun Lancer at that. I decided that any resistance orders, like double agent, we should be able to use that because, well, you know, we're raising zombies. So anyway, we start the mission, hit the enemies hard and fast, making sure to get that pesky mech out of action as soon as possible. With little fire and lightning, our Stun Lancer is especially effective at taking out the Spectre, so well done, Lancer Lee. As for the shield bearer, we decide Lancer Lee needs a fellow comrade, since an extra rifle is always useful in solo playthroughs. And then we set up a defensive perimeter to make sure we can cover as much ground as possible. With the timer ticking down, we decide to get the objective, let all hell break loose since we have 2 teammates. Then we grab the objective, and now the battle begins. So Lancer Lee takes out one guy for a whopping 11 damage. Well done, Lancer Lee. Shield Steve then does 6 damage, and that's actually quite a tongue twister. And we finish with a fireball to make sure the trooper gets the message. I'd imagine being shot, burned, and dying on your turn is quite a horrible way to go, but fair play. Then we decide to just wait it out, raise a zombie into our ranks, and we have a small team now. I think this is a first in a solo run. Pretty damn cool, I must say. Our greatest strength is making the enemy's strength work against them, so we decide Insect Swarm to counter the officer's mark as we bombard him with the plague, aka Eldritch Storm. And then for some reason the acid disappears, but it is still there, and the Mouton runs in and gets covered in acid. We get our Lancer to distract the Spectre by taking a shot at the Mouton, knowing where the Spectre will be. And Victor, like in all 80s action movies, shoots an explosive barrel, making a lovely sectoid kill. However, as expected, the Spectre shadow clones Lancer Lee. Not a bad thing, since he's at least still alive. Then it's making sure the Archon gets as much damage as possible, but first we teleport away into the enemy's blind spot and fireball the Mouton, so he's taken care of. Then the officer dies of damage over time, letting us Insect Swarm the Archon, so he has a penalty to hitting us at -50. Then the Spectre vanishes and both of our opponents try to shoot us. We have time to go ahead and raise some zombies to distract the enemy, and then the Archon is not very happy with us, so tries to airstrike us, but teleport makes it impossible as we use the plague on the shadow clone of Lancer Lee. Our zombie takes a beating, but then the Spectre decides he wants to go after us some more, so we say okay. We get Lancer Lee back and destroy the shadow clone. It works out beautifully as everyone knocks out, does not kill but knocks out Lancer Lee. Xcom isn't letting Trooper Joe's recommendation go, just like I hear Central is very busy with Trooper Joe and he is a secret project in the making, so make of that of what you will. Anyway, we carry on. The Archon is looking sorry now, and the Spectre tries he might, can't land a hit on us, so we just raise more zombies into the fray, ready for when they come back, allowing Lancer Lee to once again come back into the fray. The Spectre takes the bait. This allows us to do enough damage, so Lancer Lee is undead, so Xcom can do as they wish, and the Spectre is gone. We will help you, Lancer Lee. Trooper Joe has deemed you worthy, so don't you worry. Back on the Avenger, we go straight to the world map to get more regions contacted as we do a story mission. And once that's within reach, we of course simply must go on in, and when we do, Lancer Lee is back in action because Xcom tells me he's okay, but they need to run build tests before he gets sent to Xcom Isle. Victor is here and back at it again in another mission, and the Warlock decides, no, this is a bad idea, Victor must be stopped. And he's absolutely correct, so we have to fight the Chosen as well. However, to help us out, we decide to yoink a codex with mind control, so what's theirs is now ours. And, you know, the early invasion is a little unfair, so we might as well get Lancer Lee as well. You know, so we have a three-man team to help us in this mission. So, the aliens have other plans, and they decide when the shield bearer is dealt with, they then decide to call in a sectopod. Now, these things are no joke, but we do have a slight trick up our sleeve. Sectopods are machines, and we have an ability that can put it out of business and turn the Warlock's powers against him all at the same time. So first things first, we raise some zombies from the Warlock Spectral Soldiers, as he was so kind to give them to us, so thank you, Mr. Warlock. Next, since we have tactical analysis, we can afford a single turn with the Sectopod doing its thing. So it walks up to us, and lightning fields doesn't really do anything. So we decide, let's take the initiative and swarm it with everything we got, since we used our plague on it last turn, and it's only getting acid damage since it's immune to poison and fire. So yeah, but that armor is no joke, and we have the clutch play here where we use lightning to stun the damn thing, and it works. Now Lancer Lee is our main source of damage here, but everyone pitches in since armor can't completely negate damage, so we can deal at least 1 damage per an attack, so we get the Sectopod fairly low before it takes out our zombie puncher and injures Lancer Lee. However, he uses Wrath Cannon, which is what we're waiting for. Right on cue, the Warlock summons more spectral zombies, so we teleport away using Death from Above, giving us some free actions and clearing the field. Taking the Sectopod down as well to very low HP thanks to Lancer Lee. He also stuns the Sectopod with his melee attack. However, we have to roll the dice for an Overwatch shot to miss. It works out well as Lancer Lee takes cover and we decide to lob everything we can at the Sectopod, then it explodes. A huge sigh of relief since these things are terrifying. But we still have a story mission to complete, so we're not out the woods yet. Next up is a Spectre and a Trooper, and the Warlock, try as he might, can't go up against Victor when he's up high, getting a lot of use from Death from Above. But we do a huge dent into the Spectre's health since we don't want a repeat of last time. And then we decide to raise a zombie and punch a Spectre and let the Codex finish off our most annoying foe. It works out perfectly, giving us another team member in the form of a zombie to terrify the enemy. Lancer Lee shoots and misses, but that's okay, we got the main threats this mission dealt with. The Trooper is not a smart cookie as he gets a lance in the face as is infected with insects whilst being disoriented. Reading this, I kind of feel sorry for him, but we can actually ignore him and go for our objective now because he'll die from insects burrowing in his skin. Our most powerful crowd control is the Codex, so we go for a Sonic Bomb as it pairs very well with Tactical Analysis. And the Mecha's Plague, we know that it's going to grenade the Codex, but unfortunately the Codex can't clone itself under our control, but it's still very useful. As the enemy are a little unsure of what to do, we get a successful Sonic Bomb that also detonates a car, almost destroying a Trooper, and then Victor teleports into a tower along with the Codex, and they take some devastating shots, but Lancer Lee saves the day, taking out his former comrade, and the Trooper shoots him, and he holds on, damn it. He is quite the Trooper indeed. The Trooper is dealt with thanks to Victor, but this goddamn Lancer takes out the mech, making him on the same path as Trooper Joe, ladies and gentlemen. I can't believe it either, but Lancer Lee, ladies and gentlemen, he is now joined Trooper Joe in being former enemies, now turned to Xcom. What can I say? Now we get to the Warlock, and well, he gets reinforcements as he now wants to show us his mettle. Unfortunately, he's an idiot since Victor can turn them against the Warlock as they die. We then raise them as our own thanks to Army of the Dead, and then we simply corner the Warlock and beat him senselessly. He really doesn't last long, and then it's the last room, and well, we take out all the forces with ease, no problem, albeit quite chaotically with fire and brimstone, but that's Victor's style, what can I say? With our task force, we overpower the enemy, and then we have the objective and give the honour to Lancer Lee. He gets a cutscene, so he's officially going into the character pool now, ladies and gentlemen. The stasis suit is then carried out, mission is complete, and everyone evacs out. The Codex is left properly thinking, what the hell happened to this facility? Whether on back at base, we're out for 2 days, thanks to the infirmary. As we wait for more research, we hit another facility. It's really not that difficult now, and the Avatar project is under control, and then it's time to face our nemesis, the chosen Warlock. It's not that bad avoiding security. We have astral projection, so we can all see all living beings, another Brigadier ability. Although robots do escape our astral projection, but it's very simple getting to the Ascension Gate, and off we go. So, second chosen sanctuary, we face a heavy mech and a flame trooper, and this bodes fairly well. Would have preferred anything that could, deal damage, but this will work. We take quite a hefty beating since mechs are awkward for us to deal with, but we get the kill, bring it down, then we kill the trooper. Just simply wail around, heal ourselves up again, and since we're going to be involved in quite a lengthy fight here, our new pal, a risen zombie, is also going with us. This is going to help us massively. Anyway, the Warlock has his cutscene, so we begin the second boss battle. Here we go, time for the Warlock. So, first things first, we do Insect Swarm, and then the Warlock does exactly what we want. 2 Stun Lancers summoned in that very same turn. This skill is key since it will be his undoing. In response to this, we burn one to Stun Lance out of existence, then our zombie gets hurt, but we heal it up and raise a second zombie as the Warlock tries to mind control it. Because we're using magic, mind control doesn't work, so we continue pummeling the Lancers. The poison and fire makes the Lancers drop. He is dead. The Warlock then dooms himself as he hides behind the pillar And this is exactly the position we want him to be in. So we back him into a corner and start beating him to a pulp. And he does regenerate health, but that is what we are counting on since we're going to use the Warlock's abilities against him. We want this to drag out as long as possible whilst making the Warlock as weak as possible. So as we beat him down, he just keeps trying to mind control the undead and just being generally silly as zombies start doing a boxing class on him. Our enhanced plague on the Warlock is just chipping them away slowly as the zombies keep attacking. Mind Scorch does not work on them as they are not psychically connected, they are magic, and the Warlock doesn't realise this. Eventually the Warlock does what we want, Spectral Army, and I can't believe I said this in the same sentence, but he summons more units so we hit them hard and the zombies take them out. As for the Warlock, he's not the brightest, so we poison and insect swarm him, making him once again use Spectral Army a second time. Exactly what we want to stall the game. So thank you, Warlock, you're playing into our hands and our abilities are coming off cooldown. So we do exactly the same again, but this time we use fire to kill 2 of them. Then we get our zombie friend to punch the last one. The Warlock comes to and we just use our plague on the Warlock or Eldritch Storm. So fire, poison and acid. But you just call it the plague, and as you can see, the Warlock is not having a good time in the slightest. Try as the Warlock might with Spectral Army isn't doing too good as we can just keep taking them out. The plague takes hold of the Warlock, making him weak, then our zombies just corner and then just sell up for the damage phase. I test if zombies can punch the sarcophagus or explode next to it, and apparently not, but that's okay. We can just keep shooting it and wait for reinforcements. Now we get some damage, the zombies start taking out some units and we just bolster our forces accordingly. So 2, then 3, then 4 as we mind control an officer. This is exactly what we're after as it's extra firepower. Our makeshift lost swarm is taking out every unit, so we are then good. We teleport all over the place and use death from above as and when we need, and we just finish off the officer. The Warlock is silly and then we teleport to the other side thanks to the officer being stationed there and distract and dispatch justice like Batman. Our zombies are taking out the enemy with ease and swarming the codexes as we just destroy everything in sight. Then teleport, death from above handles the rest, a savage combo, especially with the officer, and the Warlock has a single zombie punch him as we just destroy him with a laser, and more lancers come in. So touche Warlock, but you're an idiot. We now have the tool we need, so a grenade does exactly what we want, and then we teleport over and use the old reliable fire, because if all else fails, Warhammer 40,000 says to purge the heretics you need fire, so here we are. It works out beautifully. The Warlock shoots his former colleague, then we turn around and spread the plague, so insect swarm all over the place and poison, so the Warlock isn't doing anything anytime soon. Now we get to the tipping point this run. We have Spectral Army proc, beautiful, and it's time we take all of the things we don't like out. So it's the usual delay and his summoned lancers, and we now have some extra units to surround the Warlock. We use death from above yet again to lift Spectral Army, and now the Warlock is kettled into the corner with his former units circling him and now dealing a lot of damage. Meanwhile, we have an extra gun shooting him, cutting him down to size. Our plan is complete. The Warlock is checkmate as his health pool is rapidly being depleted, and it's pretty hilarious. As we delete him out of existence, it's time for our second damage phase. This time we have a second unit helping us as the enemy spawn in. We use our zombies to handle anything that's coming, and we need them too. The sarcophagus is destroyed thanks to our officer, and the Warlock, well, it's game and match since the remaining forces are mostly cleaned up, and we just use the plague to keep the Warlock from regenerating and keep up the pressure, and it works out spectacularly. Spectral Army comes out once again, so some chip damage here and there. We use death from above to take them all out, and that's when it's pretty much done. We make sure there's fire to keep the Warlock at bay, kill the Codex so he's in the corner again, and he mind controls as predicted. Then we get our reinforcements to keep the Warlock from going anywhere, and now it's time to cut the Warlock down to size. So we set up a fire in position, and well, it's over for the chosen Warlock, second chosen death, and we are getting there. It's just the assassin left, and well, you might think they're the worst. Actually, they are the easiest, so we've done the hardest one first, then the Warlock, and well, we're only up for 4 days, so we're getting closer to winning this thing. As we contact more regions, it's quite uneventful, but we get Gorilla Ops pop up, And it's pretty nice having the shadow chamber as we can see what we're up against. Unfortunately, however, Victor cannot partake in this Guerrilla Ops since he is shaken yet again, so we have to pass. But thankfully, there's no terrible dark events. We just quickly hunt the chosen assassin, get the Covert Ops done since our operatives are pretty high rank now, so it's not a problem. At the end of the month, we have a very powerful resistance order, so we can contact new regions instantly, a huge time saver. This is one of the best orders in the game, and it's called Resistant Network, an S tier order for sure. With our Covert Ops done, we have access to the Assassin Stronghold thanks to Oswald. He's pretty damn impressive as an operative, I must say. Unfortunately, Victor is shaken and taken a lot of time off. I didn't realise zombies dying would impact the will so much, but it does, so there you go, a little weakness of the Necromancer class, I guess. Eventually, Victor does make a recovery, and we didn't miss out on too much, and we have to go to our story mission, and we pick the ideal mission if the assassin shows up. And spoilers, they absolutely do. So, we deploy in and use astral projection to see where everyone is. Patiently wait until a cluster of enemies comes close by and decide to use the good old-fashioned fireball. It does devastating damage, and the assassin shows up. The patrol is finished off thanks to our lovely death from above. We then pull a fast one on the assassin using their own tricks against them. We use Mist, so we can hide from the assassin, and combined with teleport, I can tell you right now they won't be catching us anytime soon, so they're going to be on a wild goose chase. Now we only have one piece of the puzzle left to make the assassin really hate us. We mind control a chrysalid, no problem. The chrysalid takes a bunch of damage. However, they have one thing the assassin didn't think of, and that is chrysalid poison, which is a special poison because it's permanent. So find the assassin, reveal them a fellow chrysalid, and then they miss their attack, and we decide to hit the assassin as Victor is already concealed thanks to reapplying Mist. Whilst all this played out, now the assassin has to find us, and we can just teleport about the place while everything is revealed to us. It does take a while since the damage isn't much, but it happens every turn without fail, and the assassin can't keep up with us and has fallen for the same tactics that they used against us in these playthroughs. And after waiting around, we find our lovely patient use of fireball to burn the rest of their health bar down, doing hefty damage. Now this did take a very long time, but you know, the assassin rightfully has a bit of a shotgun and says, you know, farewell. The silly assassin, you know, didn't do her job well. Rather, we showed her how to do her job. Our trap worked flawlessly, and now it's on to dealing with the mission. And well, it pretty much goes off without a hitch since we can just heal ourselves against the chrysalid poison. But the most satisfying part of the mission is burning many chrysalids alive and just absolutely wrecking them with fire. After all that, we get the one, the only Gatekeeper. He shows up to say hello. Hello, Senor Gatekeeper. It does stupid things trying to resurrect its friends, but they're not humanoid, so it doesn't work. We use lightning to stun the poor thing as the floating golf ball gets the plague. We gladly teleport away, use insect swarm so it can't hit a thing now, and suddenly this vicious thing is now a cupcake, so we bake it, and it fails to do anything against us, and to finish off, the golf ball is defeated. Jobs are good and everything according to plan. Now we have the Gatekeeper husk, we upgrade our items to tier 3, so we are now maxed out. The only thing we can do from here is Covert Ops to improve our stats, and also interestingly enough, the Alien Sign adds +1 damage to our abilities, so you know, can't argue with that. Then we do some Covert Ops to get some ability points, and well, we have quite a few, so we get some abilities I've been neglecting. First is Undead Link. I'm not sure about this, if there's multiple uses, mod creator. All I'd ask is please can you just give details on the abilities with the yellow question mark. Quite important to give detailed explanation, but yes, we get Undead Link to make zombies stronger. Not sure how good it is, but Life Drain is the next one, so we can attack and heal at the same time. Very useful, and you know, it's just something you can do. So we don't have to pick between an attack and a heal, we can do both. Lastly, Bone Armor. Now, I'm going to say right now, I very much underestimated this. 3 armor is quite a big deal, and we can get a total of 7 armor. So we'll see how it plays out, but I'm quite confident about that, and it will help out in the long missions for sure. This is definitely an ability you don't want to pass up on. Anyway, a retaliation mission pops up, the ideal time to test these abilities, so we deploy in and we actually equip the Skulljack this time to find a codex and fight an avatar. Managed to find some codexes almost immediately, and this is fantastic. We hit them hard, so one of them is on single HP. Perfect. And then the codex used Silent Bomb, and we just decide get up high, start cleaning up the codexes, so not a problem anymore, only one remains. Next we get ourselves a very valuable specimen, an andremedon. Big Dave has come back and he has given us a fighting chance against an armoured opponent. The Berserker is stunned with lightning, so now we are in the clear for now. The enemy just wants to kill civilians, so we have a prime opportunity to acid bomb a whole patrol. Simply excellent. And we see a second codex on single HP, and I thought we killed them all, but you know, I'm kind of wrong here. But here we are. The mechs are now taking notice of Big Dave the Andremedon, and we are making sure their days are quite the ordeal and quite messy. A heavy mech is defeated immediately. This is very satisfying, and then we teleport, get the Berserker the Plague as the enemy plays out, they kill civilians, and Big Dave, and this is certainly not cool, so we begin terrifying the enemy. Big Dave the Andromedon kills the shield bearer, and Dr. Victor Frankenstein teleports and raises 2 zombies for family dead. Now we're starting to snowball out of control. After the enemy turn, we raise a zombie, so up to 4 people on our team, including Victor and the Andromedon, which is 5, and the zombies are putting in work, dealing a slight amount of damage. It all adds up, you know. And after some attacks from our undead horde and making the enemy question their existence, we use Undead Link. Now, it gives extra health and armor, very good, but it doesn't increase damage like it says it does, so not great, but it does increase survival, so, you know, it's something, I guess. But our zombies distract the alien ruler, good stuff, and they are being useful. Then we attack, and the ruler freezes us. Well played, Viper Queen, well played. So we acid bomb the Viper, making sure they're no longer a problem, and the ruler decides no. So Big Dave is unfortunately done for now, at least. Our zombie home in and zombie punch the living crap out of the undead Dave. We teleport on the roof. The enemy isn't doing great at this point. Our plague has infected the Viper Queen, and it doesn't like it, so, you know, decides to get away. We shoot it goodbye. Now we have an ideal battle, just as planned, so we do one more army dead, get more units on the board, and the codex is sighted. They're not prepared. We jam in a Skulljack, and now we have an avatar appear before us, and we are indeed vulnerable to the mind control. We have many zombies. So, 1 zombie punch, 2 zombie punches, a corpse explosion with a little fall damage, and we have the avatar simply kill a zombie, no problem. But we use our ace in the hole, and why we did all this, and we did it to sell up for a special ability. We have our ace, which is Death Touch, so we use our Death Touch and instantly kill this avatar, which is amazing. So there you go. We head on back and we are out for 5 days. After our recovery though, we decide to home in on the assassin, the last chosen we have, and we have a special plan for them, making this the easiest assassin fight, and we shall exploit their weakness. We'll just get straight into the sanctum of the assassin. So, a Spectre and Flame Trooper are here, so we damage the Spectre, destroy the Flame Trooper in a few turns, no problem. Then we get the most important unit of this fight, this one zombie. Yes, this zombie is pivotal here. Spectre shows up, take it out, no problemo. We then use the Undead Link on our zombie, making them very durable. So, zombie goes forwards, and the assassin says hello. So, greetings, assassin, you better run away while you still can. Fortunately for us, the assassin does not run away, so we use the plague on them. The assassin plays into our trap. They summon 2 Advent priests, just like we wanted. They are both plagued, which is wonderful, and we poison one and fireball the other, dealing lots of damage in the process. This is exactly what we wanted. Our zombie is our main taunt, since the priest trying to attack, whilst also trying to stasis him, so we use Mist, disappearing just like the assassin. Speaking of which, the boss uses a flashbang, and we poison the priest, and our zombie, we go ahead and heal him. The priest isn't great, poison consumes him, the assassin uses Harbour Way. Then we use our zombie punch to finish him Mortal Kombat style. We get a lovely juicy hit on the assassin, so they run away. We take this opportunity to make another zombie, and then we get hit. But it's okay, we can take it. We see the cheeky monkey and punch away. Also, Army of the Dead raises a third zombie for us, so now the strategy is underway. But we're going to do it a little differently this time. We suffer more damage, but it's okay since we use Drain Life. Then Zombie Punch, and now the difference from the Warlock to the Assassin is we want as many enemies flooding in here as possible. So we gang up on a priest, 3 vs 1. Then we get ourselves a willing test subject, so we mind control an officer, an absolute gem for us. Then on our next turn, we decide to raise another zombie. So we're up to 6 units, and it's going to keep rising. Our forces are beginning to snowball out of control. We have 1 more priest, and the heavy mech is getting shot down from our officer. But we decide to drain life just in case we're hit from you know who, and our zombie decides to wreck the mech. Good stuff. The assassin is located, and again we get exactly what we want, turn the assassin's strength into their biggest weakness. Our forces are getting bigger, the assassin is getting gradually outgunned. Thanks to our healing, we can keep this pain train going. Once we take out the priest, we use Army of Dead to get another unit into our fold, and then another officer is making short work of anything that moves. Our fairly large force now. We play the Sill and Wailing game, making a wall around Victor, just as planned. So now the assassin has to attack one of the zombies, just as planned, and they take the bait by throwing a grenade, but blinds a lot of the zombies. However, you surround the assassin, and now it's too late. There's no more running around. The assassin has been cornered and has a lot of zombies punching them. So we pin the assassin, no more going invisible, and we can cycle zombies out for healing without spare. This was the plan from the start, and the officer would just deal damage and the zombies chip away at the assassin's health. As Dr. Victor becomes a medic, and as you can see, the assassin tries Vanish and Win. It doesn't work, making this a huge success. So we cycle out the zombie that got damaged, cast heal, and roll with the punches. Saitama would be proud. Even if they deal 1 damage, that's still 7 extra damage, but by combining the assassin's strength with their brittle weakness, we've checkmated them. Even a Harbour Wave can't do much against us. The damage adds up since zombies killed the assassin. We have 2 units continuously attacking Sarcophagus. When the assassins come back, we have taken control of the Sanctum by creating a bunch of targets for the enemy to fight in. They can't keep up since we have the numbers, and we trap most of the enemies, so the assassin goes down very quickly thanks to the officer gunning them down. Our zombies being an excellent shield for us. Eventually, it's the next damage phase, and well, the Sarcophagus can't hold on now, so now the assassin is on half health against the forces around us, and they are starting to wane, so the plan is working. Next, it's time to hit the assassin where it hurts. We get all of our extra zombies, begin using them as grenades, and just detonate them one after the other into the assassin, as well as everywhere else on the map, killing all the enemies. Also, the Spectre tries to shadow clone zombies, and fair enough, I guess, but it's a little too late at this point. And finally, the andremedon gets a hit, as does the boss, but with a final teleport and a guaranteed hit, the assassin gets hit for a whopping 18 damage, and we have beaten the Chosen. This was amazing, turning the tables on the Chosen with their very strength. A pretty cool way to beat them, I've got to say, and so flipping satisfying, I must say. Needless to say, we are shaken, so we're out for a while, and we need to recover our negative traits. We also have our next shadow research complete and get given a cutscene with Tiger and Shen. It's pretty nice, and I might say, well done, Fire Axis. This is really good quality. I do love watching these. Anyway, it's a race to farm Covert Ops, and this is what it takes. It takes quite a while in these challenges, I must say, especially this one, as we put Victor through many Covert Ops. This is the secret to beating the final mission, in case any of you want to know. And well, it's pretty tough for solo playthroughs, and dodge is worth its weight in gold to outlast the enemy, as well as movement. And when we have everything sorted, we're ready for the finale of this playthrough. This is our stats, pretty damn beastly, not the greatest, but by no means the worst by any means. Our bone armor and high mobility will mean we can always be in the right place at the right time. Combined with teleport, we're gonna be okay. However, there is a dark event that is going to nerf us pretty damn hard, making this final mission a headache. So go on in the Advent Tower, we use astral projection and see the enemy, making this mission arguably the easiest in the game. We can just teleport across, we're good, and as you can see, we're in, and then we hack the relay in 4 turns. Teleport is pretty damn bonkers in this sort of scenario, so there you go. Now we get the cutscene. Everything's going and overturning. Bradford is loving this, as is Shannon Tygan. However, this final mission, and oh dear, where to begin? Well, first, the speaker getting overrun is always very satisfying to see and always excellent. Then the Xcom base has everyone running around, and then we get the commander's avatar walking into our final mission. So, let us begin. First up, we see 2 Mutons and an Archon. We just use Fireball, kill the Mutons, no problem. The Archon lands a hit on us, and we just shrug it off and return the favour. First patrol done. We then use Astral Projection to locate everyone, as now's the best time to use it, and we sight a Gatekeeper and decide to Mind Control will be best used here, and we get ourselves a powerful ally for the finale, as this will change the tide against the avatars. The Andremedons sight the floating golf ball, and of course they get the death laser to their face. As for Victor, he uses fire, which provides a very effective, and yet again our foes, they don't like this one bit. So they miss their punches, and they kind of need to learn from our zombie fellows, so that is what it is. We then take a shot, kill the Andromedon for real this time. The second one's still good, but critical is dealt with after missing his punch yet again. Then it's simply child's play to end the silly Andromedon. Then it's mechs, lots of them. However, we do have a very large area of effect to hit them with, thanks to our Gatekeeper buddy. Next, we use Serial to get ourselves another action, and it does make our damage -2. However, we then use Vigor to let the Gatekeeper take another shot to end yet another mech. Now it's just one mech, so it's thunder and lightning, very, very frightening. It's very, very dead, so we win this skirmish. Next, it's Codex and Archon. So, Fireball's heard them all, worked out well. The Archons are frankly terrible at hitting the Gatekeeper. So we get up high, begin using Death from Above to take out the injured units. Very efficient indeed. The Gatekeeper even gets his tendrils in the Archon for some recovery, getting his HP back up whilst ending it. Very nice indeed. Next is quite a difficult fight, Berserkers, Mutons and Sectopods. Sectopods make this very tricky, but we use Gateway on the enemies to deal as much damage as possible to as many enemies as possible, allowing us to take them out as we see fit. Little bit of Spirit Guide for +25 aim and +50 crit, and we're off to the races. One after another, they can't stand up to us, so the Mutons are now gone. We even use Serial to refund our action points, even though it's counterintuitive, but honestly, it's rule of cool, so why not? The Berserkers try and punish the Gatekeeper. We have floating around, not great. Then the Sectopod is pretty cool as he uses a Wrath Cannon, and that's pretty good for us. The Andromedons, Overwatch, it's kind of fantastic for us, so we launch everything we have at the enemy thanks to the Wrath Cannon. One of the Berserkers is finished, we do some lightning, and the 2 heavy hitters are stunned, whilst the Gatekeeper absorbs shots. And that armor is becoming a lifesaver. Anyway, it's over to the reliable fire to melt everything, then our poor golf ball is getting a battering. We use the Plague to end an Andromedon, and the Berserker, our floating golf ball, drains 6 HP from Scuba Alien. The Sectopod goes down shortly after, and now we can breathe. And the 2 undead Andromedons are making a beeline for Sir Gatekeeper. We simply keep meleeing them, although I didn't realise it, but Andromedons like this don't actually give Gatekeepers HP. Neither do robotic units, but it does good damage, and we can now shoot, and you guessed it, Death from Above. In all its splendour, it just cleans up this horrible mess. This perk, absolutely amazing, so, it's an S tier for this playthrough. Lastly, we deal with some Vipers, and I try to heal up our Gatekeeper as much as possible before the final room. Now, this is where I made a big mistake. Apparently, just like the Chosen Sanctums, you can't take any mind control units into the final room, unlike playing vanilla XCOM 2. Not great, and that's kind of our thing. So to rectify this, I played the whole final mission again. And, you know, what you're seeing on screen now at a much faster pace in order to have all our abilities off cooldown. And as I said in the beginning, we are allowed to reload, but only from the map selection screen. A lot of people forget this, but it means we are allowed a mission restart. And this is why, in case something like this happens. Also, there is a dark event where the avatars are immune to fire, frost, electric, and poison, so only acid will hurt them. This is actually really, really bad for us, since this is how we deal with their regeneration. But alas, we do have a plan, so if everything's sorted, let's go on into the final mission. So, first things first, we spot the first avatar. We use Insect Swarm. They are not immune to this, and then we use the Plague on the avatar after teleporting. This will keep most of the regen under control. The armor is still a problem, although we are using tier 3 staff, so it's something. So we see a very, very lovely unit, another avatar with his enforcers, and this is a golden opportunity for us. We mind control the one and only Big Dave. Now, Big Dave is the key to breaking the armor of the avatars and also applying acid damage with a grenade, preventing that regen. So it's everything we want in a unit whilst being a tanky sponge. After a few exchanges and some fire, the avatar is not impressed and decides to teleport away. However, we have our andremedon still, and he throws an acid bomb to keep up the pressure. We keep fighting into the avatar, but we get a low roll, leaving the avatar dangerously low on health. We can't let it escape us, and the enemy as usual is gathering en masse, and we are getting beat down badly. Our main nemesis tries mind controlling us. It doesn't work because we've got mind shields. You know, mind shields are amazing in solo playthroughs. However, we then get Big Dave, and he comes through and he manages to get our first avatar kill. Now we have to get our second one. This has to be done very, very quickly, might I add. So we need a lot of healing to stay in this. So it's a passive turn, I must admit, but it does keep us in this. Our scuba alien, however, gets a good hit on the avatar whilst also shredding some armor. So can't argue with that. Keeping that regen from being a problem, because we are high up, we decide to go ahead and use Spirit Guide since it doesn't end our turn, and then we shoot for a crit. As the avatar teleports away, we just set fire to them, making them teleport into an acid pool. Very good. The fire doesn't deal damage, however, the acid pool is awesome because acid damage will keep ticking over. Everyone is hunting down Big Dave, which isn't the worst, but we do need him for one more turn, and the stars align as the Gatekeeper hits, but we dodge, so 4 damage. But then, the moment of truth. We drain life from a sectoid, get death from above, a very good heal. We get a graze on the avatar, so 4 damage, not great, but next turn, we're still alive, so just another acid bomb goes in, and we teleport on the flank, getting a crit. And that is a game and match, we win. Those who are quite astute may say, but Frame, you have one more avatar to kill, and yes, you're right, but the andremedon soaks up the damage, and we see the last avatar, and just like that, with the click of our fingers, we used Touch of Death, meaning we only had to kill 2 avatars in the first place. So we win the whole campaign with a Necromancer. Flipping heck, I need to go lie down, but that was a very interesting and unusual run. I must say, Victor has definitely become a villain turned hero, so well done, Victor. You are now a fellow hero with Trooper Joe and soon to be Lancer Lee in Xcom. Well done. There you go, everyone. Xcom 2 with our first modded class. Absolutely brilliant class for sure. There is a couple of things. Firstly, Sorcerer Spear, not affecting robots, not the best. But secondly, please put notes in the yellow question mark box what each ability does. Difficult to know when you've never used this class before, but it played amazingly well. A little janky here and there, and overall a solid mod, decent class, and frankly, I'd rate it a good 8, 9 out of 10. I highly urge you to play it if you haven't. It's a very well done mod, and it's my first time using mods in XCOM 2. So we do have 3 more modded classes. The Trooper, I hear Bradford and XCOM and Co are working on that one with Trooper Joe. The Akimbo, the one I'm really looking forward to. And the Samurai, as you know, I don't know a lot about the Samurai, but I have heard it's a really good class, so, that's all well and good. I'm also working on Fallout 4 as an Enclave soldier since I got my computer hard drives upgraded recently, so I can do more than one video at a time. So hopefully we get the time of videos reduced from monthly to every 2 weeks. Xcom challenges take a lot of work, but they are fun, and the Enclave challenges, very interesting, that is for sure. Anyway, I've been Insane Frame. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this mammoth of a video. Look after yourselves, and remember, you're all beautiful, wonderful people, so do your best, and I hope you have a fantastic day and a highly pleasant evening, and I'll see you in Fallout 4 survival mode as an Enclave soldier. Have a good one, and this is Insane Frame signing off. Have a good day, everybody, and once again, peace out.